But again, it's just nice to do a video, isn't it? A post-match video where can come. We're really sort of encouraged by at least we think now there's a possibility that the players have got it in them to get more results and to get us out of trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not sort of try and cloud over this. We're still in a really precarious position. This isn't, and we were right in there, and nothing is guaranteed. But at least now we've given ourselves some hope.
So welcome back to Small Heath Alliance FC. And on Monday, Birmingham City beat Preston 1-0 at home in an absolutely huge game and a massive 3 points for the Blues. It was Gary Rowett's first home game as Blues manager, and coming off the back of the QPR defeat, all we asked for was the players to show up, give us some fight and give us something to get behind as fans. And they did that. And in this video, we're going to get into the performance and what our thoughts are on that game. So I'm going to hand it straight over to Dad. And Dad, what were your thoughts on that 1-0 win?
Yeah, as you say, Matt, what a massive 3 points that was. And as we looked at the QPR video, which we did in the last match, we were not overly critical. I think we were honest about the performance. And as you mentioned in the intro, we sort of questioned the bottle of the players and their commitment. But that performance yesterday, it sort of ticked all the boxes, answered all the questions. So Birmingham City Players, thank you so much for that. We really, really needed that. And we're going to need that for the rest of the season. But it wasn't just the match, though, was it? It was the way the atmosphere outside the ground, inside the ground. Obviously, the UB40 concert. And fair play to the owners. I mean, the ground now looks completely different to what it did 12 months ago. And to host a concert like that and have the crowd really up for it really helped the atmosphere as well. So it was all. Start of the game, it was fantastic, brilliant, and then we thought, okay, now the game started, what's going to happen? Yeah. And I thought from the off, the players really got at it. They really sort of started to impose themselves on Preston. Let's not forget that Preston are a good side. They are pushing for that playoff position, and we made them look like that they weren't at that level. So I thought, it's not night and day really compared to the QPR performance. So I think the Blues players can be proud of that. I think the fans responded nicely as well.
Yeah, I think it was a great day. The sun was out, as you said. The UB40 concert was there. The fan zone was packed. Yeah. It felt like close to the Sunderland game again in terms of atmosphere. Yeah. We asked for the players to turn up. That's all we asked for. We asked for them to fight for the badge. And coming off the back of the QPR game. With those the two goals that we've seen there, I think the players did show up. They did perform, and I was really impressed with what I saw. And it was a different atmosphere and different vibe around St. Andrews, and we were having quite comical moments in the crowd. Do you remember? There were some fans going, "Stand up if you love the Blues," and then Pockets stood up as they do at home games, and then people sat down and they were going, "Sit down if you're a Villa fan." Yeah. And we hadn't seen that sort of happy banter down St. Andrews for quite some time, so that was nice to see as well.
Yeah.
But for me, it was a good day. I thought it was a really good performance. As I say, for me, the big takeaway was these players can step up, they can fight when they need to, and it was really reassuring that we held a team. Not even held. We beat a team pushing for the playoffs, and I don't even remember many goal threat chances from Preston at all. We kept them completely at bay, and those players put everything that they possibly could into that performance, in my opinion.
Yeah, they made a massive difference, didn't they? I thought the team selection was interesting because, as we've known over this season, you can't really predict what the managers are going to do because we do seem to chop and change our team an awful lot, which I think has been a real issue for us that's disrupted us. In the starting lineup, Gary Rowett brought back Miyoshi and JJ, and onto the bench went Cody Drama and Tyler Roberts, who started in the QPR game. And when you looked at the formation of the team, it looked like we were going to go to the same formation as QPR. But for me, when we started playing, it looked like it was more of a flat back four, the way that we were actually playing. I think that's what helped us to give us that good foundation or give the players confidence moving forward. And I'm suspecting that's maybe the way we're going to move forward for the rest of the season now.
Against QPR, it was a 4-3-3, but actually it was effectively 5 because we had the wing backs dropping in. Yeah. Whereas against Preston, it was back to the Mowbray and the Eustace setup. So it was a back four with 2 defensive midfielders, 3 attacking midfielders, and 1 striker. And I think we complement that formation. Well, we certainly did.
I thought the players looked more comfortable in yesterday's formation. They just seemed to, just be sort of know where they were and what they were doing, knew their surroundings. But surprisingly, I didn't realise this until I actually looked at this. There was no George Hall in the squad at all. Now, I don't know if he's injured. Did you know if he's injured? I haven't heard anything.
I'm not too sure.
Because he wasn't even on the bench. So that was a surprise. And obviously, Pritchard is still injured. Of course, no Burke or Longello on the bench. So I think their time this season is completely numbered. But I thought it was a good, solid performance that we put in there. We had a lot of chances in the first half as well. I can think of the chances for Bakuna when the ball went through and he hit it straight at the goalkeeper.
Buchanan hit the post.
Buchanan hit the base of the post. That was a good shot as well, and that was good. What I liked about that as well is quite patient build-up play, but they shot at the right time. Miyoshi had a half chance where he sort of hit it on the half volley, but it was sort of a looped shot at the goalkeeper. So in the first half, we had some good chances. Now, I don't know if you know this as well, but it's the first game I can ever remember that there was not a single corner in the whole game.
It's funny you say that because that seems to be taking social media by storm at the moment. There seems to be a thing around Twitter, especially or X, especially
that's where I saw it.
All fans are saying there wasn't a single corner about the entire game.
I saw that on social media myself, and I thought, no, that can't be right. You can't have a football match without a corner. And I was like, there wasn't a single corner in the whole game, not for either side, which I thought was a real surprise. But we restricted Plymouth. Sorry, we restricted Preston to. A couple of shots, just one on target they had. And again, I think that is symptomatic of the way that we played, we pressed and defended as a team.
Yeah, I think they had a lot of possession in the last 10 minutes, but that's inevitable because they were chasing the game and wanted to get that goal to get the equaliser. But actually, Gary Rowett's game management was brilliant. The subs came on were brilliant. Everything about it was an overall really good performance. I mean, it wasn't a perfect one. We will jump into some improvements and some performances. However, I do just want to read from my laptop here, just so I don't miss any players out here. Bakuna for me, man of the match.
Oh, I think so.
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. He absolutely dominated that left-hand side. He was good. He was fast. He was creating chances.
On Bakuna, Gary Rowett said in his post-match that he doesn't like name-dropping players. He said, but he said you show leadership in different ways. He said taking the ball and driving forward is leadership. So totally agree with that. So that's definitely one I picked 100%. Up as well.
Bielek, I thought he absolutely completely controlled the midfield.
You've got my notes here.
In fact, someone put on X, which really made me laugh, was like, since when did Zidane sign for Birmingham? Obviously, they were being ridiculous.
I thought he was really good as well.
He was really good.
I didn't think he was going to start the game because he got one in the so-and-so's in the warm-up. Did you see him?
I saw him, yeah. He was sort of on the floor for a few minutes there, weren't he? And we've all been there. If you're a football player, you get it in the nuts, it really hurts, don't it? And just to counter his partner, Paik, I thought was really good. Yeah. A different job to Bielek. He was finding space. He was good passing. He should have scored.
I wish he'd scored that goal.
I wish he'd have scored that goal. But a really, really solid performance. Stansfield.
Yeah, outstanding.
Really good energy. What a finish. And put me on the coaching staff. I said, stop whacking it and start finessing it. And you put it in the net.
You did.
I'm totally kidding. I thought Buchanan and Laird put in a really good shift. Some big challenges again. Laird's passing was a little bit hard at times, but, I'll forgive him for his passion and for his big challenges, stuff like that. So, and even the subs. Sunjic came on, did a massive challenge, and Gary Gardner nearly lobbed it over the keeper. So he nearly scored from that.
That was at the end.
So for me, again, we can get into the improvements and the slight gripes in a minute. But for me, let's give credit where credit's due. We're quick to jump on these players back when they don't put the time and the effort in. And for me, everyone I've mentioned there, the whole team did.
Can I add
really
one to that as well, if you don't mind? Miyoshi.
Yes, sorry, Miyoshi.
Miyoshi, you know that in previous games I've been, sort of questioning his decision making and stuff like that. But yesterday, I was watching. I don't know what Gary Rowett said to him, but at the beginning of that game, particularly for the first 25 minutes, half an hour, he was a completely different player. He was like, running through players. He was, getting the ball and doing everything that we saw when we first got him at the club. And I think that, for me, Bakuna was man of the match, but I thought particularly in the first half, Miyoshi ran him close.
Yeah, I think the first 25 minutes, Miyoshi was everywhere. He was creating chances. He was good energy. Yeah. I think consistently over the course of the game, Bakuna was just unstoppable, and he was such really, really good performance. And Bakuna is a player which divides opinion quite a lot. He does frustrate a lot of the fan base, but we cannot deny credit has to be given where it's due. Really, really top performance. Yeah. But I know we're coming to a close. We want to get in some improvements, I think, that we need to see moving forward quickly. And a couple for me is big one. We have to be more clinical. So we need to start putting our chances away. You mentioned a couple there in the first half. Bakuna possibly should have scored. Buchanan hit the post. I mean, fair enough. That was from about 20 yards. So, good shot. But we need Paik as well. Paik as well.
I still rather see our players take a shot from 20 yards and try and sort of, pass the ball side to side, and we lose it. Yeah. Have a shot. It could get a deflection. It could come off a post. It could go out for a corner. It could go into a player that we could end up getting a penalty. You've got to take these shots, and that's what we don't seem to do as often as we should, I don't think.
Don't shoot, you don't score, do you?
Exactly.
And we over-engineer our forward play so much. How many times are we screaming, shoot the ball. It's so
It's decision making though, isn't it?
It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
And another one from me, and bless him, he's going to get called out for one of the weaker performances, but Iwu again yesterday.
Yep.
And the reason why I call out Iwu is because we need to stop the sloppiness and we need to stop those silly mistakes.
I've got that as well.
He almost got caught a couple of times yesterday. There was one where I don't know which Preston player it was, but he came in and he should have just took him out.
Yep.
Him and the ball out, miles out, and he kind of dilly-dallied. He got caught in two minds, and that could have been a more dangerous situation than it possibly was. So for me, we need to cut out those silly mistakes, because it's almost like certain players have real laxes in concentration, and they're not focusing, and they get caught up in two minds on what to do. And Iwu was a classic example yesterday.
Well, the only worry I have about that is because I thought overall he had a good game, but I've picked out that issue as well, because I think teams could potentially highlight him to pressurise him, because they know, because he gets caught out too much. But overall he had a good game. But it's those type of things that cost you games.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing Gary Rowett mentioned as well in his post-match press conference was the fact that we got a clean sheet. And he said, if you get clean sheets, you can win. We've said this, haven't we? Before Rowett was appointed, we've been saying a long time that we need to keep more clean sheets. But it's silly mistakes where you get caught on the ball that you concede these goals, and as soon as the opposition has scored, you're automatically under pressure. And we're not a team that's prolific in goal scoring, so we've got to keep more clean sheets.
I don't know whether you agree with this, but to me, that performance was very typical Gary Rowett. And I feel like he's had his first game there at QPR. Didn't quite go to plan there, I guess, especially at the end. But I feel like that was the game, first home game. Big event, sun was out, crowd was behind him. Everything just clicked. It felt nice to be down St. Andrews again. It felt nice to be watching Blues again, and it felt like a very typical Rowett team, Rowett setup, Rowett performance for me.
Yeah, but a lot of that though, we was talking about this in the car on the way home. It's the fact that we won, the difference in the feeling that you get when you win. But this is before we were actually scored. The atmosphere was great, because I think the crowd realised that the players were giving their all for the actual club. One thing, back to one final point for me on the team as well. JJ don't work wide to me. He's completely ineffective. If you put him in, he needs to be in centre. I don't know where you put him, but he's completely ineffective. He got hauled off from that 54th minute, I think. Yeah. But I don't think that's his fault. I just think that's not his position.
Mm-hmm. He's also really predictable. He cuts in all the time because he's coming on to his stronger foot. So his game is really readable, actually. JJ's game, but I think he had an okay game when he was on the pitch yesterday. I think they all did. To be fair,
he had a good chance early on as well. Actually,
they all had a good game, to be perfectly honest, yesterday. But I agree. I don't like him out on the wing. I much prefer him in that either the attacking mid or the holding mid. I think he can play both. I quite like him in the attacking mid because he can put a goal in. He's got a good shot on him.
If he's in the middle, he's effective. He's just no good to the team out wide. Just one final question to you. What do you think of Preston?
Underwhelming. Yeah. I'm just going to call it what it is. I mean, if you look at the stats speak for themselves, and they didn't really trouble us. I don't really remember them having many goal-scoring chances or opportunities. Maybe one, I think, comes to mind. But, because they're pushing for the playoffs, I was expecting a high-energy, high-press, quick, fast football kind of play. I mean, I don't know whether it's credit to us or a compliment to Blues that we neutralise their game plan. But for me, I'm just going to call it what it is, Preston fans. I'm sorry, but I thought you were very, very underwhelming performance.
Well, their manager, Ryan Lowe, I read his sort of commentary about what he said. He said they should have been 2-0 up at half-time. I don't know what game he was watching, but
he said Preston should have been 2-0 up at half-time.
2-0 up at half-time. That's what he said. When you look at the comment, what the managers say on Sky.
Right.
He said they should have been 2-0 up at half-time, but I thought, I can't figure that out. I don't know what game he was watching, but I agree with you, and you can see that there's some really good players in that team. That technically they seem pretty good, but they were very, very disappointing. They don't look like a team that was pushing for the players, but I think that's partly because of the way we played as well. We suffocated them, and I think that really made them not look as good as they could be. But overall, I mean, for us, I think it was fantastic win. It's not, as you mentioned, Max, not a perfect performance, and I think that we still need to play better. Obviously, but if Gary Rowett can get this team just grinding out results, that's all we need. Clearly, we've got a tough game coming up against Leicester, which is one that we know that is going to be a real challenge for us. Yeah. But there's enough shown in that match against Preston that we can get out of trouble.
Give me Rowett ball and that scrappy ball every day of the week and give me wins. I don't care about the passing. I don't care about this fancy football or no fear football, whatever term you want to put on this football that we try and play. Forget that. Give me a scrap, give me Rowett, give me his style for the end of the season, and let's keep grinding out these 1-0s if we can. I don't care.
but absolutely, and me too. Yeah. But again, it's just nice to do a video, isn't it? A post-match video where can come. We're really sort of encouraged by at least we think now there's a possibility that the players have got it in them to get more results and to get us out of trouble. I mean, let's not sort of try and cloud over this. We're still in a really precarious position. This isn't, and we were right in there, and nothing is guaranteed. But at least now we've given ourselves some hope, and thanks to the players for doing that, because that was really needed for the Blues fans.
Definitely, and it feels nice to sit opposite you, Dad, doing a positive video with some smiles and some laughs, thinking about the songs that we chanted and the performance and the atmosphere in the stadium outside and the UB40 concert. Everything rolled into one. I think yesterday was just Monday was a fantastic day, wasn't it?
It was fantastic, and I think that again, back to where we started. Really, all credit to the club in terms of the way that they've done this, because I think a lot of people went down to the game wondering what would happen, that if we lost, what would happen? Would people just leave and not attend the concert? But it all worked out really, really well, and the weather was shining upon us as well, which made it even better.
Yeah. Well, and there was a lot of Blues fans as well, just being brutally honest on social media, who were saying they're not excited to go down St Andrews against Preston. They're finding it a slog and they're finding it a chore. So I really hope that mindset is going to shift. I really hope we start to get more positive days down St Andrews. I hope we can continue with this run of form. Tough one next week. We've got Leicester away, no doubt about it. Very, very difficult game. But, onwards and upwards. At least it was a positive performance. The players gave the all on the pitch. And that's all we can ask for from these players, isn't it? Whether the technical ability is there or not, Blues fans will forgive you if you leave your everything on the pitch. And I think they did this weekend.
They did. They responded really well. And let's just hope now that continues.
I completely agree. But what do you think, Blues fans? We'd love to hear from you. Please drop us a comment in the section below about your thoughts. Were you impressed with the performance? Was there things that we could have done slightly better? Did you enjoy the UB40 concert? Let us know in your thoughts about the whole experience of the day, because we found it just a brilliant day. As we said, the sun was out, we won. It was a good performance. The players left everything on the pitch. It really was one of those fixtures to remember. And don't forget to check out our Instagram and X pages with the handles on screen right now. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, so you don't miss any future content. And me and Dad will see you on the next video.